Hey everyone, welcome to the Patron Q&A video for March 2019. I've actually had the flu all week, which I'm getting over it. I'm much better now, but I'm still feeling kind of very worn out. So I'm probably gonna make this video a little quicker this month. So without further ado, we've got a two-part question from Jared that I can answer real quick. So he starts off with, do you get awkward when meeting celebrities? Um, I get probably a little bit. I mean, it depends on the level of, celebrity, I guess. But yeah, I can get a little, I don't know if I would say maybe awkward, but I definitely start like, after the fact, I'm thinking about like, what did I say that? What should I have said that? Like, is that weird that I said that? Stuff like that. But no, I think it's a weird thing whenever we meet somebody that we've only seen in one capacity, but then we see them in real life. I think it's a strange thing. Also the fact that we sort of as a society now we build these people up to sort of larger than life. So, and then his next question is, who is your favorite celebrity that you've met? That one's tough. I've met, I've actually met quite a few. I met a bunch when I was younger, because I grew up on Cape Cod, and my dad worked for the Steamship Authority, which is he captained a boat that went from Woods Hole to Martha's Vineyard, and after the Clintons went to started going to Martha's Vineyard became a very popular spot for celebrities, and so I would go to work with my dad, and some celebrities would go on the boat. They'd want to see the wheelhouse. So I got to meet like Michael J. Fox, and I remember the summer that like Tombstone came out. I got to meet Kurt Russell and his wife, and Val Kilmer and his wife. They all went over. But my favorite celebrity that I met back then was Joel from Mystery Science Theater 3000. That was probably my favorite celebrity encounter from when I was a kid. And I think my favorite celebrity encounter from recent years was a couple of years ago. I went down to New York Comic Con, and I got to meet Michael Rooker, and I had 3D printed like a Yondu fin from Guardians 2, and so he signed that for me, and so that was neat. I like Michael Rooker from obviously as Yondu, but also I'll always love him as Rowdy Burns from Days of Thunder. Julius asks a simple question. How is Division 2? It's awesome. I fucking love the Division 2. Josh wants me to sing something. Sorry, Josh, that's not happening. Steven, what do you think about the freelancer dialogue in Anthem? I think that the dialogue is good. I mean, it's BioWare. They know how to write dialogue. They know how to write interesting characters. The characters were my favorite part about Anthem. They were unique. They were well written. Talking to everybody was very interesting. There were some very interesting stories there. However, if you mean like the dialogue where like you kind of like got two choices of what you could say and it didn't really change the outcome of anything, that was a little bit of a bummer. That felt like kind of like a false choice. Like the illusion of choice is like oh, you get to steer the conversation, but you really don't. You just kind of get to say one, two marginally different things, neither of which are particularly controversial or are going to alter somebody's reaction to you. The other little problem I had with it was just that the nature of being able to do things in almost whatever order you wanted to made for some kind of odd situations where like stuff played out of order, where like a character that was supposed to be like mad at you had forgotten, because like you went back to an earlier quest, like they forgot they were mad at you now, and like just some incongruities like that. But overall, I think Anthem is a hot steaming mess. But the characters, the animation, that sort of stuff, was fantastic, and it was almost a little bit maybe salt in the wound. Because you look at that and you think like, wow, imagine this in an actual BioWare RPG where like but whatever. I also, part of me, and just a side note here, part of me wonders if they put so much effort into like the facial animation and the characters and that sort of stuff because they got so burned over Andromeda's wonky animation that they sat down and they were like, we're going to make sure that nobody can make fun of the characters in this game. Like this animation has to be spot on. So I wonder, I don't know, maybe that contributed a little bit to the extra effort they put into everybody's faces. Fred asks a valid question regarding Patreon. Is there a place that you can get all of the Patreon comics without scrolling back through blah blah blah? The archives, like Patreon doesn't have an archive system. Patreon is it's a great system for delivering content in the moment, but there's no real good archival system to like collect this content, from the many years I've been doing this. However, I do at intervals I will make a new post that includes all previous comic images, just to make it easier for new people to just kind of find them. You don't have to look as far back to find like one of these posts. I don't know when the last one I did. I might be due to do a new one for the thing, so I'll try and I'll actually write a note for that right now, and then I'll try and put that on the list of things to do. And then finally, Dicers asks, do the diehard fans that so badly want Ethan and Lila to be together, even in this new iteration, help drive your story long term, or do you find it frustrating that readers are holding on to the past? I mean, there's a certain level of frustration that comes with every time I do something, people are immediately looking to correlate it to, like, they're like, oh, well, who was this person in the old storyline? It's like, well, or like, well, this person was this in the old storyline, so they must be this in the new storyline. There's a little bit of frustration, but it's also, because I wish that I could, like, kind of like, Men in Black, blink everybody, so that they could look at this new storyline just as its own thing, but that's not possible, and I know that that's not possible, and so it's natural that I did 10 years of work on this other storyline, and now I'm doing this other thing, and I chose to use the similar. I could have created all new characters. I chose to use the same characters, and because I love those characters, and I just felt I could do them better, and so I accept that there's going to be some preconceived notions with them. So that's okay. Of course there's going to be like, oh, well, Lila's his soulmate. But I get to play with that. I get to play with those expectations a little bit of this, like, cosmic pull between them, that they're eventually going to end up together. This, that provides me some opportunities to, maybe subvert expectations or go different ways with things. So, there's upsides, there's downsides. It doesn't bother me all that much. Like I said, I'm just trying to, tell my story. And I think I'm finally starting to get to the point where I've told enough of this story that people are starting to get an idea of, like, what I'm going for here is, like, and, like, why I did this, why I restarted, because some of the, like, Ethan needs to be able to grow. Ethan needs to be able to be a human being, a likable human being, in order for him to stay interesting for me to write, and for him to, to go interesting places, as a character. So the old Ethan had just so much, had 10 years of baggage of just being oblivious, inconsiderate, blah, blah, blah. So, aside from the fact that they're superheroes, which is always going to provide interesting avenues to like kind of switch things up, the characters, the big thing that I did, one of the big things I did differently this time is that, when I went in, I layered character backstories. Like, I came up with all of that before I started, so now when I'm writing these characters, like, I kind of know, like, based on what some of them have been through, like, how they'll react to things, or what's important to them, or this, or, their motivations are clearer to me, and so that's that I think makes for, like, more well-rounded characters and a more well-rounded storytelling experience. So, like I said, yeah, I think people are starting to see, now, the true ways in which this differs from the old, thing. And I think going forward, that's just going to become more and more apparent, and people will become more and more invested in these new stories as they get to, because you had 10 years with the other characters. And so as we start to approach, like, a significant time investment with these new versions, people will start to care for them and kind of get invested in what happens to them and that sort of thing. All right, guys, thank you so much for your support this month. Thank you for your questions that I got to answer. Thank you for bearing with me as I muddle through this video, kind of feeling just very blah. Everybody, remember, do not sleep on getting your flu shots. You do not want to get the flu. It's no fun. All right, we'll see you next month. Thanks, guys.